About a year ago, I made a video about the one Fujifilm lens that you have to buy if you have the money. The only lens that you need and the best one that they have. I was wrong. Let me explain. So the lens that I am talking about is the Fujifilm XF 16-55 f2.8, which is actually the 24-70 equivalent of other cameras and other camera systems. Now, in my personal opinion, the 16-55 f2.8 is one of the best lenses that Fujifilm has ever made, but the problem was Fujifilm was moving forward. We now have camera bodies that are 40 megapixels in the Fujifilm system, and the size and weight of the older lens was just unbearably too much. So at the end of 2024, Fujifilm came out with this. This is the XF 16-55 Mark II. You see, Fujifilm had a big problem, which was competition from third-party manufacturers like Sigma, who are making similar focal lengths for cheaper prices and much smaller sizes and lower weight. And now, this is Fujifilm's answer. After around 5 to 6 years, they have finally come out with the 16-55 f2.8 Mark II. Most, if not all, the B-roll that you will see today in this video is shot on the 16-55 f2.8 Mark II. Now, I did want to get B-roll at the other spot, but some 80-year-old lady started talking and she wouldn't stop talking, so I couldn't get any footage. But the photos and the videos that you will see today will be taken with the 16-55 f2.8 Mark II. Now, one thing that I used to do with the Mark I of the 16-55 was to vlog by holding my camera. But the problem is with the Mark I is that it was very, very heavy, and when you're vlogging for a while, it starts to hurt. Now, with the new 16-55, it is 33% lighter and smaller. So when I say 33% lighter, it is at 410 grams, which makes vlogging like this way easier, especially that you have 16 millimeters, which is wide enough to get your frame in the video. Look here. What do we have here? Look at that. Someone made a whole rock formation. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Now, with the small weight of the new 16-55, other than vlogging at all times and making life way easier for us, the size of the 16-55 is immensely smaller than the old one, as you can see here in this footage. And that is actually very clever because Fujifilm have been competing pretty much with Sigma when it comes to the size of these lenses, and obviously having a smaller sized lens is actually really important because you get lesser weight and you can fit more in your bag. Now, actually, this 16-55, which is a 24-70, pretty much covers the entire focal range that I usually work with. With the Mark I, the 16-55, I pretty much did 90% of my client work with that lens, and which is why I said if you can only buy one lens, you buy the 16-55 f2.8. Now, with this one, it is way better than the original version. Oh, we have an obstacle right here. Now let's talk about the build and the handling of the 16-55 Mark II. Now, usually Fujifilm lenses are known for their aperture rings, which the Mark II does have. But the one big difference is that Fujifilm have realized that the 16-55 has been used so much for video that they now have a declickable aperture. So now there's a button on the side. Now, if you click that button and set it to off, your aperture will not click anymore and you won't hear that clicking. And that is important when you're doing video because you do not want to hear that clicking in your video recordings, whether you're recording for a client or for a professional project or for your own self. You don't want to hear the clicking of the aperture. Now, you can also set it back to click when you will restore the original functionality of all the other lenses, where you will hear clicking when you do rotate the aperture ring. The build quality of the lens, this lens is not as tanky as the Mark 1. The Mark 1 was made of metal. It was a pure beast. I dropped that lens many times and there's barely a scratch on it. But the new 16-55, I believe, is made of a mix of an alloy and a bit of plastic, which does reduce the weight of the lens, which is something I'm very happy about. One thing that I did notice is that the zoom ring is not as smooth as the Mark 1s because it is a brand new lens and I probably haven't used it as much. While the rest of the people are taking a bathroom break, let's talk about the aperture blades on the new 16-55. So with the old Mark 1 there were 9 aperture blades, but with the new one there's 11 aperture blades, which means your bokeh is going to be more circular, which is a bit more pleasing to the eye than the old ovalish kind of look. Now there's no custom buttons on the lens itself, which is usually reserved for telephoto lenses. Would have been nice to have like some sort of custom button, but there's no custom buttons over here. The manual focus ring is so-and-so. Even on the Mark 1, I never really used the manual focus ring unless I'm shooting by myself. But I found that it's not much of a linear, manual focus. It's more of like it jumps in chunks, which is, it's a so-and-so experience. The manual focus on this lens isn't the main concern, but the autofocus is absolutely freaking amazing. With the new processors on the new cameras, for example, I'm using an XH2S, and the linear motors on the lens itself, there's absolutely zero issues with autofocus. You can see like I'm walking right now, going from light to dark, dark to light, and it's tracking my eye absolutely perfectly. So we are here. The grotto's that way. We're going the opposite way. This way. Okay, this is what we're climbing right here. Should be pretty easy. I just wanted to mention, look at this beautiful natural framing right here. We have a tree from this side, tree from this side, people down there are subjects, and some nice background. We have the foreground, which is obviously the trees. Look at this natural framing right here. Nature and its natural frames, can't beat it. But yeah, check some of these photos out. These are all photos today taken with the 16-55 Mark II. The sharpness of this lens is pretty much super high quality. Like, this lens is super sharp. Even at f2.8 I find that it is pretty sharp, to the point where I do have to decrease the sharpness inside the camera itself. And when it comes to color, obviously Fujifilm's color science is unmatched. In my personal opinion, it is the best color science there is, and I absolutely love how the photos look from this lens. So we did talk about all the new changes to the Mark II, but Fujifilm also claimed that the autofocus on the Mark II is a tiny bit better, with I think a 0.02 second response time, which, Fujifilm's autofocus is not known to be the best, but in my personal use, I find it to be more than enough. I don't think I've had any issues with the autofocus. I've been vlogging this whole time, taking all these videos. The autofocus has been perfect. I don't think I've missed a shot even once. Now, obviously, it is a red badge lens, and it is a WR lens, which means weather resistance. I have had the chance to use this lens during snowstorms and during rain and sunny days and being in LA, and honestly, zero issues. This lens has absolutely been amazing, and I've had zero issues with this lens. Now, to end this video, how do you make your decision of whether you should buy or should not buy this lens? Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. But first, we are gonna go to another spot, which is Big Tub, to get some more videos and photos, and I will give you my opinions when we get there. I'm going to conclude this video by giving you basically a definitive answer who would need this lens, when you should get this lens, and if you need it. If you're a person who's never had the 16-55 and you're new to the Fujifilm system and you want the best lens there is, the most versatile lens they have and the best lens that they have, it is this, the 16-55 f2.8 Mark II. Now, if you're a person who does own the Mark I, I would say upgrade only if you really have the money and you think that you really need it. Now, I think this lens goes for 1,100 USD. It's not a cheap lens, it's one of the most expensive ones in the Fujifilm XF lineup. But if you do have the money and you need to upgrade from your Mark I, which you've had for 3, 4, 5 years, absolutely you need to upgrade. This is what I did. I used to have the Mark I for 5 years and I just upgraded. If you just got the Mark I a few months ago, I wouldn't recommend upgrading unless you can sell the Mark I on Marketplace and get some money back. The same thing that I said in my video last year, if you have the money to buy one Fujifilm lens, I would say you buy the 16-55 f2.8, but this time instead of the Mark I, you get the Mark II. And yeah, you be the judge. My whole point of this video is to show you as much as I can with the 16-55, and you can make your decision. Please subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.